The ingredients for this IPA cost $25. This one costs $50. The more expensive IPA is the same basic style, but uses craft malt, way more hops, and premium yeast. The question is, was it worth it? To brew these beers, I'm honoured to have Kyle and Emmet from Clawhammer Supply in my brewery.
This video is not brought to you by Wrap Snacks, but we're going to eat them anyway.
It's quite something having the folks that make my brewing system actually show me how to use it.
I'm going to let you do your water salts for your lowbrow beer.
Yeah.
Okay. I want mine to be precise.
Is this included in the cost?
No, it's not.
This is free. This is free. I'm going to use all I can. So you said 2 on this?
Yeah.
2 grams. I'm going 2.3.
I would never tolerate such loose
morals.
Let's not switch these up. I don't want that anywhere near my beer.
Oh, God.
Oh, geez. God, see, I can't. This one, it's not going to work. Yeah, me this.
So, what are we working with here? The cheap IPA uses a very simple grain bill, 93% Turo and 7% Caramunich I.
I wanted to get to the whisk first, Martin.
Dude, that's what I was trying to do.
You know what, cheap IPA guy? You should just have the paddle.
I think
The expensive IPA uses a base malt of Golden Promise at 61%, then 13% each of craft maltster Epiphany malts, Munich, and Vienna, along with Caramel 10. And both beers should hit an original gravity of around 1060.
I'm Kyle,
I'm Emmett.
and we're with Clawhammer Supply.
We make homebrewing equipment, essential oils, you name it, we got it. Not really, we sell brewing equipment mainly.
When I was coming up with the name for a business, I didn't want to use something that was specific. I started out selling distilling equipment, but moved on to brewing, and so I went with Clawhammer because I didn't know if that was going to be a thing. You know, distilling was where I would be forever. Clawhammer is just a general name that...
It's a smart way to name your business.
Yeah, here we are now, like we're much more brewing focused now than distilling.
Right. Yeah,
I am so ready to watch and learn here.
Get on there, don't fall now. Don't fall now. I'm doing the Martin Lean Keen. No, the Martin Keen Lean.
Going 3 clips.
2 clips, man.
Yeah.
Saving a couple bucks on a hook. I put it in a jacket. Mine smells good.
Dude, mine smells better. The funny thing is, we both got into homebrewing at the same time, but in the same place.
In the
And we
same
were
town.
friends with each other, but I don't think we ever brewed beer together.
I was brewing with Brad,
Yeah.
and my whole reason was he brewed on Sundays, Sunday morning, and we'd have a homebrew ready, and then we'd hang out and drink and brew. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like was my first appeal to it. I was like, oh, like,
Yeah.
it's socially acceptable to crack beer at 9 in the morning.
Brian just left us here.
He's like, I trust you guys. Little does he know.
Now, this is an IPA, so there are a fair amount of hops. The more economical beer uses Mosaic at the start of the boil for 30 minutes for bitterness and a bit of flavour, then another charge of Mosaic at flame out. The expensive IPA turns it up to 10, 2 ounces of Cascade at 30, another 1 ounce with 5 minutes to go, then at flame out 1 ounce each of Citra, Mosaic and Simcoe.
So I'm going to throttle that down on the pump side. So I'm at just a trickle. I'm just going to trickle it through the hop basket just to kind of extract some more of that hoppy goodness, just to kind of increase the utilization.
Despite these differences, the expected IBU should come out at around 60 for both beers.
I'll do this. I don't think so. Make a mess in Martin's house. That's what I'm trying to do.
It's cheap and easy dry yeast for the cheaper beer.
Little Safale USO5. It's never let me down. I was a dry yeast man for many, many years. I always like to have a few packs of it, so I use it quite a bit.
Nice distribution, man. Excellent distribution.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
It smells so good.
The expensive IPA uses liquid yeast.
Dude.
Let me stand back a little further.
We've had been drinking for about 4 hours at this point.
Tell me you've been drinking all day without telling me you've been drinking all day.
Specifically White Labs 001 or California Ale.
I'm going to do the old double cut method.
These are both the Chico strains, so they're essentially the same thing.
So we went to White Labs, and the yeast is all made in like a controlled sanitary environment. You can't even walk in there unless you're completely like air hosed off and you put all this protective gear on. And once you're in there, you can't leave. It's a Hotel California type situation. They make it in these giant bags, like huge bags, this tall. And that happens in the sanitary room. And then they take them out of the sanitary room into just like a normal room. And then by hand, they actually use it's like a vacuum seal heat press. Like I would consider both of these like non-sanitary. You also want to sanitize this. If you're going to do one, you would do this as well.
To dry hop, a modest 1 ounce of Mosaic was added to the cheaper beer. The expensive one went for a no-holds-barred approach of 2 ounces of Mosaic, along with an ounce each of Citra and Simcoe.
We got Emmet back at Asheville. However, after the brew day, Kyle's just been hanging out on my driveway in his van.
Yeah, Martin's got a pool.
Emmet, I sent you 2 cans, the IPA X and the IPA Y. I was gonna have you sort of guess which was the fancy and which was the cheap, but I don't think there's any point in that. We've done some taste tests, and we know who's the champ with the taste tests.
Suck it, Kyle.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just gonna pretend that never happened.
So for us, we decided that we should put these in appropriate glasses, right? So cheap is mason jar, and then much more refined, Kyle's fancy IPA, looking the part.
Yeah, a little lighter color on the fancy, but I feel like this the cheaper is a little more clear.
Mine are the same color, but I think the more expensive one's got the haze, some haze on her. But they're very similar in color, which is kind of interesting.
Maybe it's just the difference in glass shape than on our end.
So the question is, all those hops that we added for aroma, do they smell different?
Oh yeah, big time. I'm not picking up much at all on my cheap and dirty.
The fancy is so much more prominent.
And the aroma is different as well. This is more of like a fruity kind of bubble gum, on the fancy.
The more expensive one, you definitely get those dry hop additions. It's very aromatic, like citrus fruity vibe coming through pretty heavy. And the cheap beer has a little bit, but nowhere to the extent that the dry hopped expensive IPA is.
Right, so we should go cheap first?
Yeah.
Cheap first, all right, let's do it, cheap first.
Cheers.
I'm picking up a bit more fruitiness than I was getting on the aroma with this one.
I feel like that's a solid, like your standard solid IPA.
Yeah, quite well balanced, surprisingly.
So this one has to be twice as good.
Yes.
To be worth what was paid for. I'm gonna move this away in case I just had the urge to just knock it off the table. Ready for pint number 2, Emmet?
Oh, I already started.
Man, the funny thing is that like this kind of tastes how that smells.
This is definitely danker.
Yes, it is. So less of the flowery sweetness, I think, the first one.
Yeah. I feel like I was smelling more flowery sweet bubblegum on this one.
Yeah.
And less on this one, but this tastes more like the more dank kind of I was getting from this one.
This brings me back to like early 2000s dank kind of IPA. I'm kind of enjoying it.
I mean, not to toot my own horn here, but this one's delicious.
I think what's happened here is just the amount of extra hops we added in, especially in the dry hop, has led to much more aroma on the expensive beer. But it's also added to bitterness. And I guess dry hopping still does add to the bitterness to an extent, because it definitely tastes much more bite to it.
Yeah, I would agree. The body is much, this has more body. This one's a little thinner, a little weaker all around.
But once you dip back into the cheap boy, she tastes real good.
Thanks for having us over here.
Are you gonna come back ever?
Whenever the pool closes up this fall, I think, is probably when I'll head out of here.
Got a lifeguard job out there?
Yep, just hanging out in Martin's backyard with my whistle, telling people not to run, not to drink too much.
We had a great time.
Well, cheers with the expensive, because that's how we roll.
Sure.
Cheers.